Chicken guy burps.
I don't think it was chicken guy. I think it was blue moon.
Oh, no, it was chicken guy.
Okay.
I
Smelled like
Smell the meat.
donkey sauce.
Smelled like chicken guy.
We're live from fabulous Orlando, Florida.
Oh, that's way too loud. Can you bring Max down a little bit?
Don't bring me down.
He was right.
Don't bring me down. Hello. We're live from fabulous Orlando, Florida.
That's better. Okay, cool.
We're live from fabulous Orlando,
All right,
Florida.
I'll fix that later. He's clipping out a little bit, but it's fine when he's clipping. But when he was speaking normally and clipping, it's not good.
We can normalize it later. It's cool.
We're live from fabulous Orlando, Florida.
Oh, that's loud. Oh, I have Tinder messages.
Yes, the
From
plan is coming
fabulous
together.
Orlando,
I
Florida.
have Tinder. Orlando is sending me Tinder messages.
I don't have any messages.
We're not actually live. This is recorded several weeks ago, or this.
Well, we're
It's
recording
live
it
to
live.
us.
I mean, yeah, it's
recording
happening
it.
right
We are
now.
We are alive. Okay, so right now, a studio audience of ourselves.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening to you guys.
In this weird
Before
stone
a
teapot.
condo.
So let us set the scene. We are currently in an Airbnb in Orlando, Florida, and I am looking at a sign that says porch rules. Take a nap, read a book, sip a drink, converse, listen to the birds. I don't have glasses on. It's dark in here. Feel the breeze and relax.
And there's no porch.
And there's no
on
porch.
This condo. So.
Nope, no
And we're
porch.
It's just a
inside.
lie.
We're inside, and we're by the kitchen.
I haven't had Converse All-Stars since like high school.
I have six
Nor have you read a
pair.
book since high school. So,
Is
No,
this
I've
true?
read 2 since high school.
what books did you read?
They were
Kill a Mockingbird.
No, actually, I've never read that before.
What?
Oh,
Never
that was
once.
required in high school.
Oh,
Not in my high school.
Not in Hanover, it's not.
oh.
No, I skipped a bunch of English classes.
Oh, wait, I assigned myself, so that doesn't
Yeah.
count for anything.
Whole homeschool
It
Hannah.
was a little different. It was assigned for homeschool, but you had to talk about like how it was a satanic message or something.
Yes, that and Plato's Republic, I think, were self-assigned. Yeah.
Wow, Plato's Republic.
I was very
Christmas.
ambitious.
Yeah, I read that. Well,
quick,
no, I didn't read that my first year at college.
Oh, you were requested to do
Plato's
so.
Closet.
Oh, there we go.
Remember my laugh up.
In any event, we're in Orlando, Florida.
Orlando. Podlando 2020.
Okay.
Well, that's
Right, I'll go along
not
with
pre-approved.
Oh, man. Nobody lets me have anything.
Oh,
Hashtag Podlando 2020. Okay, hashtag Podventure Orlando 2020. I'm trying to come up with a hashtag for this one. I don't know. I've been calling it Podventure.
Welcome to the
Cool.
podpodcvlcast, where we talk about life, love, learning, and libido, and share our journey through polyamory and kink. I'm Max.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Chastain.
And I'm Erik.
We were able to do it like in an orderly fashion because we're actually in a circle this time.
We can see each other's faces and everything, but we do have open containers on our table, and I'm very nervous about open cups around technology.
I mean, I got my shit handled.
I feel I've already fallen over this
Dangerous
chair,
words.
injured my knee, and I've been pushed around amusement parks in a wheelchair all week. So
Not
I didn't-
all week. You had one day.
Yeah,
where
you did
walked.
one.
okay, so I
with that
didn't
one.
actually injure my knee falling over a chair. Let's just be clear here.
I was confused for a second.
I was just walking, and an old knee injury has been exacerbated, and that rhymes with masturbated.
Yeah, got it.
But I was trying to sit down in a chair, and I just sort of didn't do that right this evening. Never mind. Anyway,
You were trying to sit
It
up in a
was-
chair.
no,
to be
it-
fair, they are very tall.
they are tall
Around
chairs.
someone
And
else's
credit
table.
yourself. It was more the chair that fell than you did.
I did not fall. I recovered.
You stayed on your feet the whole time.
Thank you. Thank you. That means so much.
Chicken guy was rad, wasn't it?
It was.
Chicken guy.
They had lots of sauces.
And I'm not a Guy Fieri apologist, but Chicken Guy was fucking rad.
Do we have to apologize for Guy Fieri? Is he racist?
No,
No.
people are
His
apologists
aesthetic.
in that like
Oh,
they
well,
say
yeah.
he sucks, and then there are
Yeah.
other people who are like, I mean,
He's
Yeah, he
cheesy,
sucks, but
but
he's kinda
so
cool.
so is the food.
I'm just checking in. Has Guy Fieri sexually assaulted anybody or been racist to anybody?
I mean, not that we know
Not that
of.
we're
Yeah.
aware of.
But I've never
No,
met him.
Chast, not yet. Come on, dude. Like, let's not make everybody awful. Like, some people are just fine.
Guy Fieri's just awful in general.
No, he's fine.
He didn't
Everybody's
do
fine.
anything
People
wrong.
are just a dude. Just a guy, really.
A
guy with
Just
chicken.
He's
Chicken
just
guy.
He's a guy with
Just a
chicken.
chicken guy.
He just,
Fine.
he just hasn't updated his look since '97. That's all.
Yeah.
But which is a look in it?
Yeah, that's his brand.
Makes
It's
him
cool.
distinct.
Whatever.
You adopt a
Everything
look.
is fine.
I didn't hear everybody's favorite sauce, though.
You can keep Hannah up.
Okay, keep me up. I laugh to the ceiling. Oh.
Thank you.
I laugh where I want.
Hannah, what was your favorite
I
sauce?
laugh slightly to the right.
Wait, me?
Yes, Hannah. What was your favorite chicken guy
It was
sauce?
a really good special sauce, and also I liked the curry mayo.
This just in. Hannah, rate my sauce. Hashtag Hannah, rate my sauce.
Send me your sauces.
Wait, come on.
Hey.
Don't do that.
Don't, please.
That might be a
Hashtag.
door you don't want to open.
Hashtag.
Send me your recipes. How about that?
Oh,
I'll
hashtag.
accept sauce recipes.
That's cool.
Next, favorite sauce?
For
Chicken Guy?
comic value, it's the donkey sauce.
I mean,
Yes.
for the taste value, it was
Eric
pretty damn
genuinely
good.
enjoyed the
I
donkey
think
sauce.
I think the special sauce was.
I like the
was
peri
my
peri
favorite,
sauce. It was good on my mac and cheese, which had no flavor. When set the
Oh.
peri peri sauce that I put on it, and the bread and the texture of the breadcrumbs.
But if I'm given suggestions, I'm going go in the middle of the day like we did, where you stand in line for 3 minutes. Don't go on a Saturday night like we tried to the first time, because it's not worth standing there for an hour.
Chicken Guy is at Disney Springs, formerly known as Downtown Disney, and it's a fast food restaurant, but it's apparently a big deal because there are sauces. It's saucy.
No, it's a big deal
it's
because
Guy.
it's Guy Fieri.
Fieri.
Yeah.
Ooh, that got fancy.
No, he does. That's his deal. He does that.
Yeah.
Hey Eric, read the disclaimer.
Oh, wait. I
Oh no!
I didn't have phone in hand. That was the wrong
We're
one.
reading along so we can test you.
We are. There will be a
well,
quiz.
I will fuck it up too, so that's cool.
Hosts introduce themselves.
We did that.
Oh.
Are we? We're on section A, paragraph B, 37.
This is
This?
a podcast where we express our opinions about love and relationships, sex and kink, polyamory, and LGBTQ issues, and whatever else comes up. While we talk about these things, we may also touch on stuff like violence, abuse, and mental health challenges. These can be difficult topics, so keep that in mind. Moving ahead.
Ahead.
Moving ahead.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, so why are we in Orlando, dudes?
We're on vacation.
We've accomplished so many things since Saturday.
Today is...
Today is... What day is
Wednesday.
today? Wednesday.
Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
We
It's
drove
Wednesday.
all day on Saturday. 12 hours.
12 hours to get
Yeah.
here, yeah.
12 many hours.
It was a good drive, though. I mean, I wasn't driving.
Yeah, it was
So-
a good drive for all of you.
Good napping. Max drove 12 hours.
I was sleeping. It was great.
No, I mean, it was fine. Like, for me, driving those kind of distances is just like sitting
What
at
you
a
do.
desk or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's just driving. There's no...
Yeah.
Especially with that pimp-ass minivan we've got.
Yeah.
We
Hi.
rented a pod vehicle.
Wait, pod vehicle. We're excited about pod
I
vehicle.
have the cruise control on, and I could, like, 2-finger steer it, so it's not a lot of work.
What else do you do with 2 fingers?
Steer.
I mean, this is obviously a masturbation joke you're going for.
Not
And
necessarily.
that's
It
not
could be
how
a fingering
penises
joke.
work.
It could be.
So,
But
It could be a fingering joke.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I sometimes
That's where
do that
my
with
mind went.
2
I've
or
never
more fingers. That's correct.
just 2-finger masturbated. What? Like
I have
do you
2-finger hand jobbed.
your pinky out kind of thing, or
which begs the question, if you were using only 2 fingers to drive, what were you doing
With
with
the
the
other
other
hand?
hand?
Oh, they're
Oh, 1 finger on each hand.
Yeah,
oh, your
that's
pointer
okay.
fingers.
is this not a phrase, Eric? Like,
I
being
thought
able
it was this, like, thumb and forefinger pinch from the bottom.
I thought it was like a come hither motion.
I
I was thinking
Hold on.
totally on the other, like on the up and up with the index in the middle.
So
Oh, really?
I have no
See,
idea. No,
for,
okay.
for the listener, we are
Okay,
all
I
pointing
thought
at
this
one
was-
another
This is all
and
going to
making
get
weird
edited out
hand.
because this sucks
hand
really hard.
gestures.
I'm actually into this conversation.
No, so this was a thing like that I heard from my dad and my uncles and stuff.
Sure.
Like
No, because older
an
American
aligned
cars,
car, like you could 2-finger drive it. You
Right.
could take your index finger from both hands,
and you weren't
like,
meeting
that
the
was all it
resistance
took.
from the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about a phrase, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. I mean, this was a thing that I heard, as a younger man.
Wait, that's not just how you're supposed to drive?
No, you're supposed to 10 and 2 it,
Yeah,
man.
10
You're
and
supposed
10s
to-
with your full hand.
Oh, I 10 and 2 with my fingers.
And I guess
I
Max
usually-
credit is he did not drift and jerk, which is what I've experienced on many road trips.
Tell us about your
The
experiences.
drift and jerk is if
Her main experience with me drifting and jerking is how I boom.
Oh, wow.
The old drift
Tell
and
us
jerk.
about the special sauce, Hannah.
No, I have donkey sauce.
tangy.
Oh!
Just take that however you like.
Okay.
We made
We're
it.
already way off the fucking rails.
We made it to Orlando.
I've
That
been
was
drinking all
good.
afternoon, so it's fine.
Welcome to...
While you guys were napping, I was drinking.
I'm catching up.
Hydrated.
I started drinking at 7 o'clock yesterday in the
I
morning.
never stopped.
Never stopped.
You're 13 hours into drinking now.
13? 30.
Oh.
Wait, no, yeah.
That was
24
yesterday.
plus. Yeah, fuck it.
Right now I'm having alcohol. I don't remember the name of the alcohol, but it's good.
It looked
Oh,
like
it's
the
in
rum
coffee.
Kahlua. Is that
I've
what you
been
had?
so
No, I'm not
confused.
having Kahlua. I should put Kahlua in here. I need to stop for a second because I actually have to pee because of the alcohol.
Okay.
Cool, dude.
Well, pause it.
Fine.
Okay, sorry about that.
Everybody's tired of me saying. And we're
Oh
back.
gosh, I am. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm excited about it.
No.
Excited to be back.
Excited to be back.
I'm
Did you
looking
hit-
at what Hannah just shared to the group chat.
Sorry, I accidentally found a stupid Instagram meme, and it made me mad, so I shared it with everyone.
Grip it and rip it.
Okay, I'm gonna read
what is-
this. His head, her chest,
Heart.
heart. His calm nature, her madness.
Heart.
His kisses, her lips.
Heart.
2 heart.
Heart.
1 magical soul.
Heart.
That's real love.
Heart.
What the fuck is this supposed to be?
From love
It's
and
the heart
relationship.ig. Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
I
His
have a few.
Okay. So his brain, her titties. His kisses, her pussy lips, right? Like that's about
They didn't really get into it. It was just
Oh.
those
You-
2
that's
words.
you.
They
That's
didn't
His
specify.
calm nature.
You're bringing
her
your stuff.
madness.
I mean,
You're
that's
projecting.
yeah, I am.
So while you guys were napping, I was drinking, but I was also doing hard work creating content for this
Oh, yes.
for this here podcast.
What
no.
you got for
So
us?
I posted on Whisper. So I said, "Dang it."
What did people respond to? Dang it.
Oh, no, that was something else. All right, so I posted, my Polyam Pod is visiting and recording our podcast. What do we need to know about life, love, and libido in Orlando, especially as pertains to non-monogamy and kink? And I was surprised that I could use that many characters on Whisper. I received 1 reply. That reply was from user, "Hey baby, let's get fucked up." and the response was, "I'm listening to Dan Savage now. Sometimes he makes sense. Other times I can't stand him. What's the name of your podcast?"
Oh.
So I won't be responding to that.
Yeah.
I won't be responding to,
You didn't
"Hey
want
baby,
that
let's
kind of-
get fucked up."
You didn't want that kind of promotional opportunity?
You know, I don't know
I'm
how,
listening to
"Hey
Dan
baby, let's
Savage
get fucked
now."
it up" is going to help.
No,
help us
the
out,
other
but-
one. The
Okay. So I, feeling inspired when I woke up from my nap and found Max doing such hard work to create content for our podcast, came out here and created a similar post. And I got several responses.
Do you know what the difference is? My profile says that I'm a 42-year-old man.
And mine says that I'm a 39-year-old lady. So I got several responses. I'm looking at one now from European_guy. European_guy says, "Good evening."
That's
and
Erik.
then it's not Erik. He's not European.
No, everybody
He's
just
also
thinks
not
that.
underscore. Oh yeah, that's a total accident, right?
So European guy wants to know how we are. He wants to know who I am in terms of whether I'm a he or a she, and wants to know what I'm looking for. And I said, well, I'm not looking to swing or do anything. And he is a European guy is looking to please a lady at oral. So I don't know where
Did you
oral
use the
is.
That makes it sound like
Yeah,
a sportsing competition.
Yes, it's a sportsing competition. So, European
oral.com.
_guy is giving oral out 24 miles away from Kissimmee, Florida, where we are right now.
Hit
So
that up.
if you want to hit that up on
Yeah,
Whisper, it's available for you. It may not be available still since this is not coming out live.
Get a
yeah.
paper map and a compass, and you can draw a 24-mile
Yeah.
radius around Kissimmee, Florida.
Yeah.
And
And maybe
search for a
find European guy. No Limits Dom STC has not given me any information. We were basically trying to just sort of get a general sense of the vibe for the community
Right.
around here and what was going on. I did get some better responses when I asked, hey, what's the swinging scene like? The responses I got were from older dudes who wanted to know if I was interested in getting into the swinging scene, to which I responded, nope, just wanted to know what it's like, what's the mood, etc. And finally got some information. There is a swingers club or a lifestyle club called, I have to look at my screenshots,
Something hideaway.
Secrets Hideaway.
Secrets hideaway.
Secrets Hideaway, and I looked at their website. So Secrets Hideaway is a resort and spa, and they have a nightclub, and it's basically a sex club. And you can go there and stay. It's here in it's here in Kissimmee. You can go and stay there, and you can play there, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so that exists in a couple places in Florida. I know a couple cities in Florida have, true swingers clubs.
Yeah, we have one up in D.C. that has a swinger night.
I think that's on the Maryland side of DC.
Yeah, it's in Maryland.
I know that there is
It's not in D.C. anymore. It's in Maryland.
I know that there is a place, at least one, in Pennsylvania, but we don't seem to have any in Virginia. And that's a legal?
I think it's a
reason
legal
for
thing.
that, right?
Most likely.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, but that sounds about
And this is a
right.
club that you have to pay for your membership to,
Right.
but they don't seem to be discriminating about letting you in. There's nothing about background checks or anything like that in what I saw. So you're basically paying for your quote unquote membership, which is kind of like the membership the membership fee you pay to get into a strip club in Virginia.
That's not a thing in Virginia. That's a thing in Maryland. The way that Maryland's laws are set up.
Oh, it is.
You buy a
membership? Oh, I thought that was how we did it
They have
here,
to
too.
be like, I'm using quote fingers. They have to be private clubs
Gotcha.
in the same way that like a Moose Lodge is a private club.
Yeah. So
that's
down
not the
here,
case
it's a
in
private
Virginia.
club. It's a private
Yeah.
club, and they allow full nudity in the non-public areas, and they have play spaces.
Right.
So that's a place down here. The other place, which is an actual kink space where they have a lot of FET
We're not
events.
advertising for.
We're not advertising it. This is just where I saw a lot of FET events, and this is what people mentioned to me when I asked, hey, what's the scene like down here in terms of kink? The woodshed is where they have a lot of their rope stuff.
Woodshed.
And the woodshed is a lot where they have a lot of rope. They don't allow alcohol there in any way, shape, or form. Seems to be your pretty standard kink club. It's just a space. So there are websites. We are not in any way promoting these spaces. We are just saying, hey, these are what people in Orlando are telling us they're doing.
It's what somebody responded on Whisper with.
Yeah. And this is as I was
Don't take
whisper
anything we're saying
sourcing
seriously.
information.
You got
So
anything else? You got anything funny we can?
yeah, I do. So the first response I got, the first official response I got to my big, hey, we're podcasting down here is, I'm not sure, but I am a kinky guy. I can mention maybe some cool things you can do in town. And I said, I'm pretty sure we can find some ways to entertain ourselves. And he said, gotcha, cool. Where are you traveling from? And then sent a nice picture. So very handsome fellow. I'm just showing everybody. So this guy just moved here. He's been in Orlando for about 4 years. He's living life down here. He's trying to get into the kink scene. Doesn't really know how. I tried to direct him to FetLife. And then he started asking what I looked like. Told him I was a fat redhead, which is accurate. And he said, well, I like redheads if you're cute. And I just didn't really go further with that.
Please evaluate your own cuteness for me.
Yeah. And I got several domly doms who really wanted to be domly towards me. And I said, hey, I'm also a dom. That's cool, right? And then they kind of got quiet.
Right.
And then one dom type from Connecticut or something said, hey, like we DM up here and do club stuff up here. and, what are you guys doing while you're traveling? And just ask general questions.
Up here in Connecticut?
They're down here traveling. And
I see.
so.
Yeah. I also did a speed run through the swiping dating apps. And
Me too. Mm-hmm.
And now, admittedly, my profile is kind of intentionally challenging.
Well, you're intentionally challenging as a human being, so that doesn't surprise anybody.
And I can read that in a minute after I look it up if you want me to. But admittedly, my profile is kind of challenging. But the matches I did get, I sent a message with exactly what I just posted on Whisper also, and no responses on that. So.
I got lots of matches in Orlando because I'm a lady. A lot of couples looking for ladies, and I just didn't respond. I just swiped right on a bunch of people. Erik, have you been playing the swipey game?
Yeah, but since it is completely normal that nobody pays any attention to me on Tinder, let's see. I've gotten 2 responses. I haven't sent any messages.
I don't know how to read messages on Tinder anymore, so...
You don't know how to read them?
I
They're
don't.
just there to read.
I've never been on Tinder.
But what I can say
What
is...
is everyone talking about?
I think we should share our Tinder profile messages with Hannah. I think this would be a fun thing to do.
I don't have any.
No, not our messages, but what our actual
Your
profile
profiles.
says.
Oh.
How are you representing yourself on
Yeah.
I honestly
this
don't
Swipey
remember.
appy?
Well, you and I kind of wrote it together. I went
Yeah,
through and
but
edited
that doesn't
it.
mean that I remember. Oh, yeah, there was some German in there, but that's, of course.
Uh-huh.
Is that the intentionally challenging part?
I guess it is.
Mine is intentionally challenging.
No, I mean, at the end of it, there's a bunch of stuff in German that's not even German. It's kind of half Schwäbisch.
Is it a Rammstein song?
No.
No, nothing to do with Rammstein
Damn
at all,
it.
actually. There's other German than Rammstein.
There is.
No.
Yeah, there is. It's a whole
And don't get
world
him
out of
started on
Get-
those darn
just-
darn Bavarians.
The what?
The Bavarian.
Oh,
Bavarian.
Yeah, lustig
Not
Bayerische.
Barbarian.
I said Bavarian. Alcohol. So, Max, do you want to read your profile?
All right. So, I mean, I'm not going to read most of it, but I will read the last part, which is the most intentionally challenging part. Mainly here to recruit for my sex cult. Join now. Ask me how.
Okay, good.
Hey, here's the sex cult.
So here's mine. Queer femme, accidental bon vivant, gatherer of humans, bonus points for yoga lovers, do-gooders, makers, builders, performers, creatives, musicians, and those filled with wonder at the world. FYI, I'm polyamorous, married, open, and partnered, closed. Here for friendship and connection. Want to smash? Gotta ask. I save my kisses for misses.
Did you say accidental bon vivant?
Accidental bon vivant.
How is one an accidental bon vivant?
That's
Only
what,
in her head.
only in my head.
Huh. Okay.
I'm very intentionally a bon vivant.
I have a Bootsy Collins song.
I have a Janelle Monáe song.
Oh, I don't have that.
Oh,
shit.
wait,
I have a Bootsy Collins
there's a song?
Yes,
Yeah,
you can
have,
make
like,
a song
theme
from your
song or
Spotify.
song. I don't
So
know.
Hannah is now...
You can have an anthem. That's what
You can
they
have
call
an
it.
anthem. Hannah is now
I've
Can they
never
then
interested.
go find your Spotify?
Yeah.
I also don't
Stalk
know.
you in various
Yeah.
places?
You can also
Well,
link
no,
your
I-
Instagram.
I also don't know how to use Spotify, for which I get made fun of, but that's fine.
That's okay, buddy. I don't use it at all. Pandora's better inherently.
What?
Yeah.
Speaking of Pandora, how do we rise to the challenge?
Savako.
We rise to the challenge by walking through it and looking at stuff and
We
then
looked at
going
stuff.
the fuck
Yeah, we
away.
Savako, dude.
We Spacko.
Yeah, were you reading your jank?
No.
Okay, cool.
It says some stuff. It's very general, just
All
like
right.
that description.
Okay.
It says that Erik has a 420 friendly height, weight proportionate, no drama llama.
No, in fact, it doesn't use any of those words.
So it didn't have space.
Yeah. All
And,
right.
and then it has some Spanish in it. It says something about...
It's about smoking pot and going to the symphony.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were actually wanting me to say it, so...
Well, that was
Going to the
in
cemetery?
German. So
Symphony.
people don't know it.
Oh.
But smoking
This-
pot and
Different
going to the
experiences.
cemetery is also kind of...
I mean, it's fun
The
either way
silly
because there's
symphony.
pot.
Silly Symphony. Then it is a silly symphony. We planned this vacation for a long time. I don't even remember when it first came up, but
It was
Max...
about a year ago.
Yeah, it was about a year ago. So I think we've been planning for a year and saving for a year. And I've had many spreadsheets because that's who I am as a person. I have to admit that a lot of, just like with Hannah moving in and a lot of those sorts of things. There were small anxieties about, oh my gosh, we're traveling together. And we did take a little mini vacation. We took a little weekend where we went and did some volunteer work up in the mountains, where we had to take a 3-hour drive together. And then we had to stay with one another in a place where we had separate bathrooms and separate rooms. But we were still eating together and doing most of our activities together. So we did a trial run 8 months ago. So that made me feel confident about taking a week-long vacation. But still, it's really stressful to travel with a partner. Never mind 2 partners.
Right.
And then also a metamor.
Right.
So.
Well, and, any anxiety that I might have had about it, that I did have about it, like, we have always, not always, but we are most of the time a very good team. When we have had those like wacky adventure nights, when we're trying to accomplish this thing that we're doing right now, like mostly we've done a good job being a good team. And I think that's really borne out this week. I think that
we settle into roles.
Yeah.
Fairly easily and naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You mentioned that you've been mostly wheelchair riding for the last couple of days because you're having some problems with your knee and motility.
Yes.
And so today, like when we were leaving the place that we were at today, I was going to drop you on the curb and take the rented wheelchair back. And like we just kind of did everything. I just pulled the keys out of my pocket and handed them to Erik. I didn't have to ask Erik to go to the van. Like Hannah sat down with you. Like all those sorts of things just sort of happen easily because we've been working at this for a while together. Not on purpose, but we've been working at this, being a team for a while, and we kind of fit into our roles and do a good job, I think. Yeah.
I think that's good. I think that's correct. I've been really impressed at when we get separated, which has been few and far between, but when we do get separated, we've been able to find one another quickly and get back on track. When there have been times when, Hannah has motion sickness and can't ride some of the rides because of that. And so Erik and I will say, okay, we're going to go ride this thing. And then Max will say, okay, I'm either going to go with and ride the ride, or I'm going to go hang out with Hannah. We're going to go look at stuff, or we're going to go check this out. And then we all ended up going to shows together, and we've had plans and missed plans and changed plans and done all that stuff. We've been really flexible. And I don't think any of us are flexible as people.
I mean, in some ways, yes, but in many ways, I'm very structure-oriented.
I think some of us are, I think all of us have our own individual rigidities in terms of, I think this is what the plan was and what we discussed. And then when things change, we communicate them differently. And I've been really impressed with how we've handled that as a group.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody just being open to experiencing everything. Like, this is my first time doing a big trip like this.
And you got a button.
In Orlando, I'm being Disney. But y'all have done this trip a bunch of times and like
not me, actually. Essentially for me, it's also the first time.
All right. So we're like 50-50 here. So I appreciate everybody like accommodating and being really thoughtful. And I know that if this is your vacation spot, I'm sure you have your own like routines and favorite things. So it feels great to have tour guides who are also like really cool and flexible and making it great for everybody.
Yeah, my main role has been asking, what the fuck is that thing? And what does that mean? And I don't know. I don't watch movies, so please explain this thing. And
as somebody who enjoys all this theme park bullshit and likes talking about it, like that has been kind of nice for me to be like, oh, this is the thing, and this is why it was done, and when it was done, and how it was done, and here are the like 7 weird pieces of trivia.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Erik keeps asking me, and I go, I don't know, man. Ask Max because
personalized tour guide and whatnot. Because it's all stuff that I would not at all know otherwise.
Well, and you and I, Erik,
probably look for.
You and I
should even explain it from like the perspective of aesthetic that I'm looking for. like how shit's put together, and that's
Yeah. You and I have an overlap in being interested in engineering and how things are built and why things work the way they do. So I both get to talk about, like, this is the dumb culture thing about this thing. But also, like, look at this ride system and, like, how the wire is buried into the ground and, like, all this stuff. And I think that's fun for me, and I appreciate that, you know?
One of my favorite.
That's actually more interesting to me than most of the activities itself.
Yeah.
One of your favorite what?
Oh, one of my favorite just impromptu trends from this week so far is people pointing out cool bathrooms to others. Like, oh, no, you should wait for that one because that one looks really awesome.
Yeah. That's a kind of recent theme part in development, is bothering to theme bathrooms.
Yes.
And I think it's really neat. Because
and some bathrooms
are
are more air conditioned than others.
True.
This is true.
Animal Kingdom has some rockin' air conditioning in their bathrooms.
Do you know why? Because their bathrooms are also like sanctuaries in case an animal gets loose. So that's the only
because
Disney
they have the
park
closed doors
that have that all of their bathrooms have doors that close.
Well, shit, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I
That's
meant to point that out
fascinating.
because I think that's really cool.
And by sanctuary, you mean like temporary corral?
Yeah, if
for
a tiger
escaped
gets loose in the
animals?
park,
Right.
like this is a place you can go hide. Yeah.
Right.
Fuck that, I'll fight a tiger.
Bullshit.
Oh,
dude.
sanctuaries for people.
I wouldn't say that
Sanctuaries
I
for
win.
people, not the animals.
I thought you meant there
so
were
the
air conditioners
tiger
for
can
the
go
comfort
hide?
of the tiger.
No.
I'm not even drinking. I'm just
Yeah.
open
You had
to
a
all.
small glass of wine.
I had a small glass
saw.
of wine. That's all it takes.
You know what? Can we talk for a second about something Erik mentioned a minute ago? That, you know, if you guys don't want it to be up, we can cut it later or whatever. But
Sure.
can we talk about the role thing? Because we all do have roles here.
Yeah.
You know, like Chastain, you are the technology person, and you're the planner.
Mm-hmm.
You're the spreadsheet maker,
I'm the matriarch.
and like Hannah is the like caretaker. Hannah always says, "What do you need right now?" to everybody. Like Erik is the facilitator. Erik is willing to do like whatever physical thing needs to be done at the moment.
I'm the big oaf.
No.
And I'm
Okay,
the
the
goddamn
short elf.
captain. So
You're the captain. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I think of it this way: is Erik is the helper.
I have a sense of direction too. It can't be beat.
Yeah.
That's
you know what? You
true.
do have a hell of a sense of direction.
Yeah.
I gotta say, especially this week, it's
It's
kind
one of my
come
spectrum
to
of
bear.
things.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah. So this week, so Erik has been the Yoda on my back of my wheelchair this week.
I don't think that's how Yoda
I don't know
did
how that
things.
works.
She's doing
Yoda
You've
wasn't
been-
through the jungle.
You-
pushing
Good
Luke
advice.
through the forest.
Eric's been using a stick on me. No,
Pardon?
I'm gonna link the Yoda my stick
Oh.
video.
That makes more sense.
So that
now.
reference makes sense now and
I
is
also
less
thought you said
sexual.
my dick. So
No, maybe that too. But moving forward, no. But so Erik has been pushing my wheelchair, and it's been this.
I mean, I've also pushed the
No,
wheelchair.
you've also pushed the wheelchair. You've also pushed the wheelchair, but
Hannah has a little bit.
and Hannah has too. Hannah has too. But
It's just,
Erik,
I do it with pizzazz. apparently.
Well, I did it with pizzazz. It got yelled at.
Eric,
Wrong
So-
kind of pizzazz.
Eric did it with consensual pizzazz.
That's not my style.
No, so it was really hard. Okay, let me back up.
Okay, well, here's one phrase that will be cut.
Sensual pizzazz
Yeah,
is
that-
a band
she
name we
just-
should be using. First of all, carry on.
Pause it for 1 second because there's a phrase I have to say, but we shouldn't record it.
Oh,
Okay, so we're back. So my knee stopped working, and Erik and Max and Hannah noticed that I was limping, and we were at Epcot, and Max turns to me and goes, we'll get you a wheelchair. It's not a big deal. I know this is hard for you. And I almost burst into tears, and it was, and I had to make this decision to go that's really relying on people in a way that I'm not comfortable with. And that's feeling like I'm a burden, and that's going, but then also me not having a good time is more of a burden, I think. And me being in pain is hard on everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And Max and I did this. I injured my knee when we were at Universal for our 10th anniversary.
Right.
And so
2017.
Yeah. So 2018.
I'm sorry, 2018. Sorry.
2018.
Yeah.
At least you got it a year early, not a year.
Hey.
2018. I know it feels like we've been married longer, but no. Yeah. So I injured my knee and it's been exacerbated, and it was really hard for me to accept that help. But all of you have just been really fun about the whole thing, and that has made it easier for me. But Erik has been especially just like, do you want to look at this thing? Like, I'm going to direct you this way. Is it okay if I use you to ram people or run over their feet? And it's just been very endearing and helpful in a way that I have not expected, but that's been a thing that's been a trend for me to work on over the last year, and I'm continuing to do so, which is accepting help. And all of you have been so helpful, and it's been really interesting seeing your roles, because Hannah has made sure that there are protein bars in the bag every day, and Max has made sure that we know where we're going, right. And Erik has made sure that I know what I need and I have what I need, and has checked in, and I know that I've fussed at him a little bit about it because I get very stubborn about accepting help, but it's been pretty fucking awesome, so thank you.
Well, also it's symbiotic in the way that, like, people are getting out of our way. It's easier to move through a crowd
Right.
because they're afraid to be in the way of the person in the wheelchair, and that's kind of awesome. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking we should get you an old-timey horn.
I can just play it on my phone.
Ooga.
I find it interesting the way it's all worked, because none of us is a natural leader. I'm just going to throw that out there and wait for people to contradict me.
Shut your fucking
Well, no, I don't think any of us is comfortable being the one to definitively take charge of a situation. And you can tell this by the way we walk down a sidewalk. We just like keep switching places.
Kind of
Nobody's a good follower. Nobody's a leader. But it all like works out together. We're very like
Mm-hmm.
Equanimous?
Yes.
An autonomous collective.
An equanimous group.
Equanimity, equine.
I got your
Horsies.
yeah. I got your reference. That's
Oh,
fine.
no.
Well, no, I
missed
also
a
meant
horse
that
joke. Say it
genuinely.
again.
No, I said autonomous collective.
I said horsies.
Thank you.
In any event,
But either way, that's exactly
with
what
some
it was, though.
sodden bilk tossing scimitars.
So it's been going really well. Tomorrow's Meltdown Thursday. Chastain had a mini meltdown today.
That disqualifies you for participation in Meltdown
Yeah,
Thursday.
I don't get to participate in
Meltdown.
Meltdown Thursday tomorrow. So tomorrow, I've asked
on E to start that, and then I'll just fill in where I
Erik
can.
gets to start Meltdown Thursday tomorrow.
You'll know when it's time.
But how am I going to tell? Because you've just been mad at everything.
Well,
By everything
when
you
he's
mean
not
other
driving,
cars.
you'll know when he's not driving, because when he's driving, that's when he's mad at pedestrians.
No, but he's
mad
been-
at that kid on the hoverboard.
But he does that when he's pushing the wheelchair too. He's just like, I'm just
That's
going to
because
punch
I'm
that.
driving the
A
wheelchair.
miniature Hummer
yeah,
driving.
that's all the same.
And it's just a simple system that if people would follow the simplicity of the system, it would work.
There's no system to humanity, man.
I wish I just had a glowing sign for my vehicle that said, "That wasn't efficient!" Because that's the thing that makes me mad.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Me
saying.
too.
That's what I'm saying.
Me too.
Help me, help you, help us all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I apparently have road rage. That's what I've been
You also
informed
have
of.
photo
It's
pa-
not really rage, though.
No.
It's
It's
just
a road smolder.
It's just
You're
like
road grump.
road grump. Well, last night we were standing in line, so we were in the new Star Wars land. What's that place called? Batu. We were in
Galaxy's
Batu
Edge.
and Galaxy's Edge.
Black Spire Outpost.
Black Spire Outpost.
It has several names.
Waiting to get our picture taken in front of the Millennium Falcon. We were in line for our Disney photo pass, and Erik was just so angry. And it was so funny. And then there was Chewbacca around, and then there were things happening, and we were in line, and the photographer was taking forever and borrowing people's lightsabers to use as props and other people's photos, and there was stuff going on. And we finally get up there, and then we were the people who were then taking a long time because we wanted to switch out. And I felt like we did it efficiently.
We did it
Pretty-
way
I have
faster
thoughts
than
about that.
like 4 groups ahead of us.
Yeah. I have thoughts about that.
Thoughts about what?
We weren't taking a long time.
No,
We were
didn't.
efficient.
And we
did
were
it
very efficient
quickly.
about it. And
We had a plan.
And also, like, so that was the first time, we had done, I don't know, 6, 8, whatever. Okay. For the listener, and
Context.
and for the listener
let's
who,
explain to the listener what it is we're actually talking about.
yeah, who is not a frequent theme park visitor, or at least not a frequent Disney theme park visitor, they have employee photographers at sort of strategic points around the park that are, scenic, that people want to take pictures at, and they will take a professional photograph in that place. And then you can buy those photos later at $200 for the whole package or whatever it is. So
An arm,
anyway,
a leg,
yeah.
a kidney, your first
So
child, whatever.
you sort of queue up in these places, and it's generally 6 or 8 people deep, 6 or 8 groups deep, and then you take the photo. So we had done that, half a dozen times, whatever it was, at these different spots around the park. And
It may take as long as like 5 minutes from getting in line to done.
right. So, but this one last night was the first time that we hadn't just done all 4 of us in a group. We wanted to do, the different couples, the different partners partnered up, and then also all 4 of us in the group. And, it's not a big deal at all. You don't have to say, hey, this is my wife, and this is my girlfriend, and this is my wife's boyfriend. You don't have to do that.
Right.
We did.
Like, we were witnessing when we were waiting for other groups to go through in all the other spots. All right, I want to do pictures of my 2 kids. Now I want to do pictures of my 2 kids with their mom.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to do pictures of all of us. Now I want to get grandma and grandpa in there. Like, that's what everybody does. So if you're on one of these trips and you have multiple partners, or you have multiple partners in family,
Don't
or
feel like
whatever,
you have to explain yourself. Disney does not care.
You just do what you want to do. They don't give a shit. They want to sell you a $200 photo package.
Right.
Like, the ultimate answer about anything that has to do with polyam shit in public is just do what you want to do, and you really don't have to explain anything to anybody.
Yeah, don't feel self-conscious about it. If people
And
ask
really,
you questions,
nobody cares.
just say, I'm
No.
having fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you get the joy of making people wonder.
Well,
Right.
as we established
Very
in the
worst.
last trip and talked about it in one of the early episodes.
We did talk about it in an early episode. I
Is
think it was
that-
your episode we talked about when we talked
You
about
are much more self-conscious about what you have going on than
Right.
anybody
Right,
else is looking
and
at.
they don't even generally notice unless you say something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the issue with that photography spot at all. It was like this guy was trying to make a name for himself in front of them.
The photographer?
Yes.
Yeah, he was
boy.
kind of going
He was
above and beyond.
accommodating every request, and our request was we want one quick photo of these 5 configurations, and he said, "Got it."
Well, yeah,
did exactly that.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So-
walked up to him first and said that, like, hey, we're going to do some different arrangements. And his response was like, all right, you tell me when you're done. I won't tell you. You tell me when you're done.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
And I think, that really speaks to the fact that Disney is supposed to create good experience for all the people there. That's what their job is. I mean, they charge exorbitant prices for their tickets, and they want you to have a good experience.
Right.
And-
for, like, each of the add-ons, like the photo package.
Exactly. And I think that line was so maddening is because everybody in that fucking line was trying to have their greatest experience in front of the Millennium Falcon.
No. It wasn't like it appeared to me to be the one of them that took the longest was when he was like choreographing a full fucking fight scene.
But I feel
in
like-
GIF form by adding all the pictures together.
Yeah.
To emphasize to me once again that I don't want to do that with my life. There was a little while where I was like, yeah, I could be a photographer. That just looks real exhausting. I admire anybody who can do that all day and be cheerful and be efficient and effective.
And we know lots of people who do photography as a side project or do photography professionally, but have other jobs too.
Yeah.
And we also know professional photographers, and it's, yeah, more power to you. That's a creative
Well, I mean,
lifestyle.
Everything in the world is a specialized skill set for
Yeah.
salesman to photographer to
Yeah.
construction worker. and,
Podcasting. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be a car salesman. I couldn't be
No.
many
No,
things.
I would be like, you don't want to buy this thing. It's
Yeah,
gonna-
exactly.
No.
Man, this thing's a
So that is a special kind of person who can do that and be cheerful all day
Mm-hmm.
in like adverse conditions.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like people are shitty at theme parks because you've been out there all day and it's hot and you've spent a lot of money and you thought this was going to be like the most magical day of your life. And you had a fight with your wife earlier and your kids are being assholes. Like, it is a hard environment for people who work at theme parks.
I'd say they do a pretty good job.
I think they do a great job.
Yeah, they do an awesome job.
No matter what the skill is that they're actually there to do, they all have to have excellent customer service and be good at just like wrangling people to do the thing that you want them to do next. And we saw some great examples of.
Well, and I had some great interactions with just people who were, you know, they were cast members, quote unquote, who were standing around just like at the opening to shows and rides that I had questions for that didn't have anything to do with their show or ride, and they knew answers for me, and they were able to tell me where to get water bottles filled and bathrooms and stuff like that. And that's the stuff that I need to know, and that's important. Well, and Hannah and I Disney bounded, and the cast members were really excited about that.
Yeah. So do you want to explain what? Oh, well, we talked about it in a previous one, but do you want to explain what
Yeah, so Disney bounding is essential. So adults over the age of 14 are not allowed to wear costumes to Disney theme parks or masks.
As opposed to children over age 14.
Well,
I was kidding. Go on.
Anybody, a child is anybody under age 18. So yeah. So adults... so anybody over the age of 14, just humans over the age of 14, are not allowed to wear costumes in theme parks. So the way that people have found to dress up in theme parks and celebrate their love of Disney films or characters or music or whatever is to dress in the colors of their favorite character or have clothes that are maybe a different time period.
A style,
or just have some embroidery or a decoration or maybe have a little headpiece or something. You can't wear masks. You can't have makeup that covers your whole face. Not like a color, you know what I'm talking about.
There's a percentage. Yeah.
Right. So Hannah and I both Disney bounded, and that means that we wore outfits that were inspired by certain characters. And Hannah, do you want to tell them about your outfit and why you chose your character?
Outfits, plural.
Plural, yes, we both.
So I started the week as Kim Possible. I've been really excited to do that one because I thought it would be fun and easy and recognizable, like only to people who were of a certain age in like 5 years in the early O's, which worked out really well. Yes,
most
those were the
everybody
guests
that works there.
Exactly.
Really
so yeah,
it
turned out that they were happy to see me.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And I Disney bounded as Ariel because I wanted to be a mermaid, and I used to swim with my legs crossed when I was little. And so when The Little Mermaid came out, that was a really big deal for me. Also, she has red hair, and I have orangey red hair. I'm a natural redhead. So I did Ariel, and that's also kind of a recognizable color scheme. And so Hannah and I walked around, and we got a lot of cast members recognized us, called us by character names, talked to us about it, and we had fun with it.
Yeah, they made it really fun. I, not having been there, I was a little bit embarrassed to be excited, or to like fully participate in the thing as an adult.
Did you see though that like
everybody does it?
Like, that's the whole thing.
Exactly.
And I was thinking about that a little earlier today. Like one of the neat things for me, because I am defensive about liking the things that I like, because theme parks seem silly, wrestling seems silly, comic books seem silly.
But that's still cool, man.
But like, what's exciting to me this week in particular was seeing like full on like punk rock dudes with sleeves and metal girls with, lip piercings and shit who are wearing ears and like pin trading and like excited about all of the really, really silly parts of this thing we like because it is comfortable. It makes us feel nice, you know?
Yeah. I grew up going to Disney because my grandparents lived here in Orlando. My grandparents on my dad's side have passed on. And so we went when I was a kid, and then later my mom and stepdad, we were down here several times. And so going to Disney and going to SeaWorld, which we didn't do this trip, was part of my childhood. And there were so many strong childhood memories And Max, you and I have been. We went in 2007, then we took our son, and then we've been a couple times.
2012, yeah.
Yeah.
And then back for our anniversary trip.
We went for our anniversary trip.
You and I have been together 3 times.
Right. But we didn't do
4
Disney
now.
on our anniversary trip. So it has been a long time, 7 years.
Yeah.
So there have been lots of changes since we did, a Disney. And it seems like it's cool again. And it seems like it's just updated. So many of the rides had been updated. It felt a lot different than it did when I was a kid, and it felt a lot different than it did when we went in 2007. So much of the stuff that felt just really, really, really old and outdated in 2007 just has completely changed. And the stuff that felt old and outdated now is still just the Disney legacy stuff.
Right.
That is always going to feel old and outdated.
And it has some kitsch factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we have to say, disclaimer-wise, that there's a lot of weird, old white male privilege at Disney.
Yeah, holy shit. It gets real weird, dude.
God damn.
Especially with the, some of the couples t-shirts and stuff. Like, the first day
Wait,
we
what?
saw...
I hadn't noticed.
Oh, yeah. First day we saw a dude
I'm
wearing
kidding,
a shirt that
it's
said, my favorite Disney villain is my wife.
Yeah.
Right? With, his wife and
yeah.
several
That was
children in tow.
over by the Carousel of Progress.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of that
There's
kind of
a lot
stuff.
of she belongs to me kind of t-shirts.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, and the whole family is wearing best day ever shirts, and dad is wearing most expensive day ever. Reinforcing that
there was
notion
my daughter is a princess, and I have a lightsaber and a shovel. I saw that one.
Oh
at
yeah,
Star
I saw that
Wars.
one at least one time.
Yeah.
I into that.
The
never
defensive
saw
But there's
daddy.
a lot of reinforcing those narratives
Right.
of the put upon dad,
Right.
and the family's having a great time, but dad is sad and spent too much money.
But then there are also rides, and there are songs that just sort of have a lot of stuff that it's come on, Disney, go ahead and remove that from the lexicon. Go ahead and say no to that.
It's only a few decades of history, and I know it. A lot of it has changed, but a lot of it has not.
Yeah.
And to go through and just rapidly experience all of that media in one day is really, it's interesting, it's bewildering, and like you were saying, it feels like it's been so long, but it's been since the 80s.
It's interesting to me that so many of the people who come to Disney are from all around the world and not white, and yet Disney is selling this Caucasian male-centered dream. It's really weird.
I think the new stuff has moved on.
It has. But the old stuff, the fact that, I don't know,
Well, look, I'm not... as a
and we can change subjects. I have feelings about it.
But
we can change.
All right, I've got 2 things to say, and then we'll move on. As a bomb-tossing Marxist, it's not my place to defend the world's biggest corporation. That being said, they are in a tough spot because everything they change, people get real mad about.
Yeah.
Because it's something they associate with their childhood, something they associate with comfort and happiness and youth or whatever. So they change the tiniest thing on any of their attractions, and the internet loses its fucking mind.
Right.
And then, some part of the internet likes that they changed it, and another part of the internet is mad that part likes that they changed it.
Right.
So it's a whole fucking thing.
if you zoom out a bit, that's our whole political system
Sure.
right now anyway. So,
Sure.
yeah, that's
but we're
not surprising.
we're talking about the thing we're talking about. So the other thing I have to say about it is the little example of what they changed to sort of adapt with the times that really amuses me is that on Pirates of the Caribbean, when I was a child, you would ride the ride. The one time I rode it as a child, you would ride the ride, and the pirates are
Chasing
lecherous
ladies.
and chasing the ladies. They're sort of a carousel that goes around and around. And
this was a lady chasing
in the
somebody.
90s,
Right.
all they did was turn the figures completely around so that the pirates are stealing things,
Right.
and the women are chasing the pirates out with brooms or rolling pins in their hands. And that is such a small change, but it's so funny. That's all they had to do to make that a little better.
Well,
Not great, but a
another
little
thing
better.
that they changed was that there was
Red.
read as a lady pirate now who's in charge of stuff as opposed to
the auction. Yeah.
as opposed to a lady of the night.
Yeah, that was originally like auctioning off women from the town,
right?
And they put in this female pirate character,
right,
who is now auctioning off the goods,
right,
the booty from the town. Yeah.
Well. The other thing I'll say about Disney, the corporation, and this will be the last thing I said, and I said this in the park when we were walking around Epcot, which Disney's dream was this future land of self-sufficiency
Walt Disney himself.
Walt Disney the man. Yeah. His dream was that Epcot would be this city of tomorrow that had its own sustainable food sources and electricity sources and all this stuff. And Epcot is this like cartoonish ode to that in some weird way that hasn't really updated much.
It's 80s futurism.
It's 80s futurism. And they have this, Disney has this heavy drive towards conservation and saving things and saving animals. And they talk about, like how all the good work they do for conservation and saving, wildlife. And they do that with Animal Kingdom and all this stuff. And they're not using straws anymore, yada, yada, yada. Disney is this huge, massive influence in the world, and they could do more.
Sure.
Disney could easily change the tides of the environmental movement right now, but they're not.
Epcot was my favorite part.
So I knew you would enjoy Epcot. And in Epcot, the part of the show that had the quote about photographs being a little piece of time that like you can hold and you can own. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about like all the pieces of the park and our Disney experience that are just like snapshots of how we, mostly we as a country, right? And maybe some of the bright creative and minds there thought about what was good about humanity and what was good about the world and what the potential was for things. And as much as like I tend to say, oh, I'm doing an escapist thing, which is absolutely true and has been awesome. We have other ways that we memorialize the things that in our history and in our belief systems and everything that are negative and that we have to learn from. And I think that in some ways, like these are the aspirational sides of it. Like it can be two sides of a coin.
Right. Well,
I can sort of get on board with that, but I think I'm too much of a pessimist in that arena now. Yeah. And
I can understand that.
Well, y'all done fucked up because y'all are just setting me up to talk about shit that I care about.
Ooh.
So
can we pause?
Can we have a pause for bathroom break? We're in an hour.
Damn it! I was just gonna say.
Yeah, y'all done fucked up because
we're back.
It's queued me up to like have the right to talk about stuff that I want to talk about that nobody cares about, or stuff that I enjoy thinking about.
Before you get into that, we haven't really shared what
you didn't fuck up, so because I don't get to talk about it.
Yay! We have been posting some pictures on our Instagram at Cult with a V, and that will post also to our Facebook at podpodcvlcast, which is...
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What's happening?
And also our Twitter at podpodcvlcast.
Cult with a V.
There we go. And you can get access to exclusive trip information and additional podcast episodes about our trip on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/podpodcvlcast.
Cult with V.
Now you can talk about all you want to.
Oh, well, I was just going to say one more thing about Walt Disney, the person, and about the company and stuff like that. Walt Disney was a guy, he was a person of the very early 20th century. He was a sort of 1960s conservative in that he believed in, some pretty terrible ideas, and he believed in American exceptionalism and all that stuff, and was a big Richard Nixon fan. And you got to think that today he would be a Trump guy. But also because he was a conservative of the 60s, he believed in science and, you know, and
conservation,
futurism and conservation and actual conservatism. So while he had some bad ideas and some ideas we would find kind of abhorrent, like, he also really did believe in the future and believe in, you know, the environment and saving the planet and all those manner of things.
Yeah, not using up every resource and then expected it to be replenished.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he certainly would have believed in taxing the shit out of poor people so that he could save a few bucks, but, you know, he seemed
But
to
he
be...
wanted to ensure that that would continue.
Right.
By providing for future
he was
generations
not living
to
for
be
a
taxable.
single generation.
Right.
He was clearly wanting to inspire.
Right. So,
future
but that being said, like,
innovation.
Hannah, you mentioned the Epcot show that featured some recorded quotes.
Yeah.
And, like, all that being said, and understanding that people are human beings with flaws, like, some of them really deep and terrible, like, every time you hear Walt Disney's voice talking about the future and imagination and creativity and all those things, like, you know, I still get a little misty and like, oh yeah, like,
This is a real person
yeah,
who lovingly crafted a lot of this with a very
Right.
personal touch. Yeah.
right. And the company itself today, all the terrible things that you can say about one of the largest corporations in the world, before marriage equality, they recognized same-sex couples and recognized benefits for same-sex couples. And they had pride days at the parks, and they, you know, they offer a lot of pride merchandise. And you can say what you want to say about crass commercialism.
But it feels
As
good to be
opposed to-
represented there.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah, as
Right.
opposed to actual representation. But yeah, it
No,
is represented.
it
It
is.
does exist there.
You know, one of the things that we saw a lot of, because when Disney has anything under construction, they like to they have walls up with some pictures. Construction walls, but they typically have Dream Builders quotes on the walls. And these Dream Builders quotes are things that Walt Disney said. And I think there's a collection of these in a book, maybe called Dream Builders. I'm not sure. But there's
Not
one.
familiar. Yeah.
So there were a lot of that we joke about, and you can check those out on our Patreon. We're going to talk about them on our Cultcast Media Club episode. But there's one that I think applies to us and is also kind of, I think, really something to think about for the whole world. And this is a really good quote.
Was it the one about using your hands?
No, it's not the one about using your hands. Whatever we accomplish belongs to our entire... Shut up, guys. Gosh. I'm trying to read something serious here. Whatever we accomplish belongs to our entire group, a tribute to our combined effort. Walt Disney. I think that speaks to, like, how they thought about things and how he, as a man, thought about things. Like, we're working towards a common goal. And I think that's how we as a pod do things. And I think that's what they try to do at Disney, is they all have this common goal of creating this experience for the world.
Right. Yeah, absolutely true.
So yeah, we're like, you know, we think Disney's cool.
We're fans.
We're fans. Shut up, whatever. Ohana.
Yeah, and I don't know. It feels like in the last few years, it's kind of going through a moment where it's, you know,
It's getting better.
yeah, and it's cool to be into it. And
Well, they're also buying up everything that people are into.
right, there's also that.
There's also that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Do we have anything else to talk about as it regards our actual areas of expertise instead of just fawning about shit we like?
Well, I mean, we could talk about food we ate.
That is an area of expertise for me.
Our bellies are an area of expertise.
Yeah.
I find it as the cultural under the rock person. Since I don't really know much about anything that is there, like this movie, that reference.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you haven't seen any of the Disney films, and except for the old
The
stuff.
ones that I grew up on, you know, from 30 years ago are older than
It's
I am.
interesting, like, you're a music person, but, like, I was surprised at your depth of knowledge on the music in those 90s movies that I don't have. Hannah was playing a lot of the Lion King songs, and you know them. Yeah. But I don't.
Well, that and my sister's 8 years younger than me, and there was a time at which she would pick one movie that she would watch
and over.
Right.
Literally every day for a month solid.
Well, that's how I know Star Wars stuff, because our son was super into Star Wars when he was little. Star Wars and dinosaurs.
Right. So that's how I know a lot of the 90s stuff. But no, where I was going with that is that where I don't necessarily get the references to a lot of stuff, what I do find super fascinating about that place is all of the barriers to contain within like this one little section. It stays that world, and directional sound that will like essentially cancel out the sound from something else so that they don't clash. The very, very subtle like shortcuts and guidances to keep the flow of things moving, that like all of this just almost subliminal level just tweaking that sound makes the whole thing work.
Yeah,
it's super impressive.
The sound thing is a thing that theme park nerds talk about, and it's a thing that Disney over anybody else that does theme parks is really good at.
Yeah.
Is not having bleed over between the music and the sound effects and the things that you hear going from one quote unquote land to another. That sets the mood for that.
Yeah, and they do it in a lot of other ways too. Like you don't have the cast members from one section walking through another section, that sort of thing. But as the audio nerd here, the sound is outstanding.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, would you say it's piped in or?
No. It's still wires and diaphragms and magnets.
Are the smells piped in?
The smells can be piped because that's
how smell moves.
Okay, so
it's actually the displacement of air to carry the sounds, but it's really just the waves within the air that carry the sounds.
So, I know we're a polyamory and a kink and relationship and advice and comedy or whatever kind of podcast we are. We don't know what we are.
We're not funny.
We're not funny, but people laugh. I laugh when I edit sometimes. So I think that we should share sort of some of our favorite stuff that we did while we're there. I think people would like to know what we did. So, we talked about our Disney bounding. So here's the order of things, just to remind everybody who was here at this table what we did, because I forget. Our first day that we were there, that we arrived, we checked into our Airbnb, and then we went to Disney Springs and ate some dinner because we couldn't eat a chicken guy. It was too busy. And then we came back here, went to sleep so that we could start our first day at Walt Disney World. And Walt Disney World was stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean, and It's a Small World.
Magic Kingdom.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Magic Kingdom. I don't see, this is why I shouldn't do this stuff, because I don't remember things. So Magic Kingdom, which is kind of your classic traditional Disney.
It's what people call Magic Kingdom Disney World.
Right. It's the castle.
It's what you think of.
Yeah. It has all the things you think of. And that was my least favorite day.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely my least favorite day. Because I just don't have a lot of nostalgia for Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for It's a Small World. Those are things that I remember riding on as a kid, but I don't have a lot of nostalgia for it. The stuff that I thought was cool was the second day that we went to parks, and that was Animal Kingdom and then Epcot. Mm-hmm. And then the day after that, we did a full day of
Hollywood Studios.
And we took a little break in the middle of the day, right?
Came home, took naps and stuff.
Came home and took a nap so that we could kind of break it up and, change, refresh, and then go back out and have a nice little evening in the dark and experience the
because specifically they have the new Star Wars land, and we wanted to see it in the dark at night. Yeah.
Right. So that's sort of the order that we did things. So why don't we just kind of go around and do you have a favorite ride that you did? Do you have a favorite food that you ate? Do you have a favorite thing that you saw or experienced, or a thing that you hated, or memory that you have from the trip?
I saw a lot of things I hated.
Where do you start?
But that's just me.
Where do you start?
Where will I start?
Where are you starting?
Anywhere.
I'll start because, this is kind of my deal more than anybody else.
Yeah, this is your deal, and then we can just jump in.
Overall, the whole impetus for wanting to come this year was they have the new Star Wars stuff. So my favorite thing was just being in the new Star Wars land, like sort of immersed in a thing that's been around literally my whole life that, I care about and I enjoy. So that was overall the whole point of coming, overall my favorite thing. A very singular, small, like if I had to pick just one thing that was my favorite thing was riding Haunted Mansion, because it has been refurbished greatly since I rode it last several years ago. The last time you and I, Chastain, were at Disney, it was closed for that refurbishment, and it looks awesome.
It does. It looks really good.
And it is my favorite single Disney World ride across all 4 parks. Just for silly nostalgic reasons, really. But yeah, those were my 2 favorite experiences. Erik.
I have been to Disney before, but it was 32 years ago, so most of it I don't remember. I remember being terrified on a couple of things back then. I don't remember much of Magic Kingdom at all, actually, other than the 2 rides that I was utterly terrified of. One of which I rode, and it's okay.
Which one?
Not as scary now.
What was it called?
Tower of Terror?
No.
Magic Kingdom.
In Magic Kingdom.
In Magic Kingdom, the
roller coaster that was
the train one.
Big Thunder Mountain.
Big Thunder
That's the
Mountain.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 5,
Erik overcame a fear.
Yeah, right. You wanted to ride it because it looked like a cool train ride, but then it turned out to be a...
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, because you're a little fella.
Yeah, I was tiny back then. I'm surprised, actually, that I was big enough to even ride it, honestly.
Yeah.
But I guess that was the power of my insistence when I was 5. But I do actually very clearly remember a whole lot of Epcot from when I was little, and that was my favorite part, was Epcot. It was remembering little tiny bits of this and that from 32 years ago. That was pretty awesome. I guess if I were to have an actual other favorite thing for now, it was animals. I like animals.
Yeah, we
like animals a lot.
We had fun. It was fun watching Erik take pictures of all the animals, and then
it's actually the only place I took any pictures.
Yeah.
Was in the animals.
No, we took pictures at Epcot when we were.
I was only taking those pictures because all of those other people were failing at taking that picture.
He had to prove that he could take pictures of water. Everyone.
But
maybe we'll post some of those.
So let me interject that I'm very happy that you enjoyed Epcot, because most of Epcot is closed off with construction walls because they're refurbishing the whole fucking park.
Oh yeah, that didn't bother me. I loved Epcot too.
So yeah, I was anticipating that you guys would think Epcot was a fucking drag because it's
no, it was the best one. There was nobody there.
Oh, that's good. That makes me really happy.
There was nobody there, and then we went to
the. You didn't have to wait for anything at all.
We went to the thing with the countries, and like the Epcot was where we got the wheelchair, and we had lots.
I think you mean the World Showcase.
I'm sorry, we went to the World. No, we went to the World Showcase. Okay, well, I guess I'm next then. I guess because I'm talking now. Okay, so here were my favorite things. Epcot, because Epcot is the thing.
A few of your favorite things.
A few. Epcot is the thing I have the most sense memories of. The land pavilion at Epcot is my favorite. I really love the land ride. I like this.
That's so weird.
I like seeing the plants. I just think it's really cool. It's the thing I have the most clear memories of, just going through. And then I don't know. I just have it's just a strong sense memory thing, and I don't have a lot of. Theme parks aren't really I'm not a big Disney person. And, Max knows this. And rides can be challenging for me because I have a disease thing. So, for me to be able to ride rides and things like that, it takes a lot of work and effort and planning. So yeah, I had fun on this trip, but Epcot, the land was the thing I was excited about. Animal Kingdom was awesome. I think it's the best overall Disney theme park. In terms of theming, in terms of what they offer, and being able to just feel like you're in a different place.
In terms of air-conditioned bathrooms.
And air-conditioned bathrooms. And I think they have the best ride, which is Everest. And that's my favorite ride at Disney of all the parks and all the rides. Now, so that stuff. My favorite memory was Epcot evening, when we finally got the wheelchair and we were wheeling me around, there were fireworks that night and we were drinking around the world and we just got to go to stuff, and we went to Morocco, and I love Morocco and Epcot. I don't know why, I just do. And it was just a lot of stuff that I love about the parks. Like, that's the thing I love, is feeling like I'm in a different place, even though I know it's not a real, and it's a very cheesy place. I like that. The second thing I love is the Star Wars stuff. And I didn't really anticipate the emotional reaction I was going to have to the Star Wars stuff, but I cried. And we're going to really talk about Star Wars for our Patreon supporters, because they specifically asked for this. But I will tell you this. We got to the park really fucking early. We got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and got to the Disney at like 6:30, and we got in the park. And we could get into queue for this ride. And we got there, and I'm drinking this weird green milk stuff with tequila in it. And we get there at 7 a.m. because I wanted to, gosh darn it. And we get in the park, and I don't know, it was overwhelming. The Star Wars stuff was really overwhelming. It was because like you said, Max, it's been part of my life all my life. It was there when I was a kid. It was there for raising my kid. It's wow, I'm going to cry right now. The Star Wars stuff was overwhelming. Yeah.
How about you, Hannah?
Wow. So I didn't have very many childhood nostalgia things that stuff needed to like live up to for me, or that moment that I was savoring. And I'm not a big thrill rider. So I'm really glad that, like you were saying, that we had a group and that y'all encouraged me and stuck with me to like be on some of the more adventurous stuff for me. The very first thing, as soon as we got into the park on the first day, Chastain was like, everybody wait, and ask someone if I would be allowed to like wait in line with you in case I wasn't able to ride because of motion sickness stuff. And as we were walking away, the cast member said, "You have really good friends," which is absolutely true.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
She did. She said, "You'll have really good friends." So I felt really, cared for through that experience. I'm really glad that we did it, because you're right. It was just completely just immersive and awesome in a really unique way. But I don't necessarily think that is news to anybody. I think you could probably look up, anywhere online, and they'll tell you that stuff is awesome and you should definitely go see it. I had the most fun on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really?
Yeah. I'd never done it before. I'd been really looking forward to it. It was one of the ones that seems to be like people's classic favorite. And like you were saying, they've made a few changes here and there, and it's one that people have followed. And I was just so charmed with the idea that like they made an entire film franchise just based on this one weird thing.
I actually remember specifically when the movie came out.
And it's good.
It's the only one of those. There was a plan to do that with all of them, and they made the Haunted Mansion, and that movie is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Isn't that
they made Tomorrowland, and that movie is fucking terrible.
The Haunted Mansion movie, wasn't that Eddie Murphy flopped?
Eddie Murphy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really awful. But so they did those two at the same time. I think Haunted Mansion was first. I'm sorry, I'm interjecting.
No, go for it.
I think Haunted Mansion was first, and it was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And they made Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was great. And like they made 4 of them, I think. And
there's probably 10 of them by now.
At least 3 really fun movies.
Yes.
Yeah, so they basically abandoned the plan to do and they made Country Bear Jamboree.
Oh, that's right.
And they're coming out with a
Wait, that's a movie?
They're coming out with the riverboat cruise or
Coming
whatever.
out the Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise.
And I don't know, it's got The Rock in it, so it's probably going to be
pretty
fine,
awesome.
I
mean, I
mean, the trailer looks great, but
it's got The Rock in it.
Yeah. Right. I'm sorry. I
No, that's exactly right. It was just, knowing that there was so much lore and so much things, so many things that people loved about it. And we had even watched videos going through it. So it wasn't like anything was a huge surprise. It was just like that moment that I've been really looking forward to, and I loved it. So
that makes me really happy.
Oh, Hannah, thank you. I forgot to mention I did have a favorite thing in the Magic Kingdom. Tiki Room.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
actually...
assumed everyone had done Tiki Room and didn't care about
I've never
it.
done Tiki Room.
I might have done it when I was.
Yeah, I didn't
six
remember
or
having done it.
Oh,
whatever.
I think I would have been scared of that as a child,
Yeah.
but it was really cute.
But we all love birds, so.
Yeah. We've seen some fabulous birds on this
Oh my
trip.
gosh, so many
Daily.
good birds.
Good
So
birds.
whichever
Yeah,
one
mostly
of the
lunch birds. Lunch birds are everywhere.
Lunch birds are awesome, yeah.
and the macaws at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, pussy.
Oh, that was a beautiful moment.
Yeah. But in Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, one of the like big set piece parts of that ride is the voice saying "Dead men tell no tales."
Yes.
And whichever one of those movies it was,
Right in
like,
the first one.
no, it was the weird one where he like goes into the netherworld and they're all there.
Third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like when it got to that part in the movie, man, it got real dusty in the theater and my allergies acted up real hard
Yeah.
and my eyes, like it was crazy. But yeah. So anyway,
Yeah. I love this. I think this is just a unique form of storytelling that you can't find most any place else.
Right.
That
Right.
might not be done really the same way into the future. Like, I like everything about that.
Yeah.
yeah, that makes me really happy. I'm glad you felt that way.
Well,
About
and
it.
you saw some of the more modern stuff, which is all screens, and
Yeah.
you don't get animatronic figures and models chasing each other, and
Actually,
Now they can do
that's-
some amazing things.
I'm
but-
going to add another thing to my favorite stuff, and that is a lot of them are old and janky and whatnot, but as far as animatronics go, that shit is...
it's right.
It works. It's
Yeah.
very impressive. Especially the really, really old ones are the most impressive to me.
So there's a documentary called Imagineers, right? That's what it's called
On Disney Plus,
on Disney Plus. On
the
Disney
Imagineering story.
Imagineering story, and they tell a story about how a lot of that stuff is just it's individually custom built, like and a lot of that stuff, no two pieces are built the same way, which would drive you crazy.
No. That's what I have a
That's me.
high appreciation for.
yeah, it makes it more impressive.
So we were in the carousel
Carousel of Progress.
of progress.
Yeah.
And they very clearly set up the thing that is happening, right? And you have consistency throughout it. But we were on like the third frame or something whenever I accidentally made eye contact with one of the animatronics, and it freaked me out so bad. It was like as we were moving, I'm like, he's watching me leave! Those are not by far the most polished versions of that.
Right.
But
Well, yeah,
we didn't even go to the Hall of
opening day,
Presidents.
and engaging enough that for a moment I was like, he saw me.
Did you feel seen?
I did feel seen.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes, Queen.
It was also impressive in that one specifically, since it was essentially 4 different stages that get used and reset every couple of minutes, that as you're rotating from one to the other and the song is going on, that they're perfectly synced with each other. But as soon as you get into it finishes rotating into place, you don't hear anything from the other ones.
I was gonna, yeah. As you were talking about your sound thing, the way they isolate the sound from one stage to the next, when you can see daylight breaking through the
Then you can
The
hear
wall.
the next one,
yeah, that's it.
and they're singing together. And
Yeah.
that, I'm sure, was a very, very specific requirement that was difficult to achieve.
Well, and that was at the 1964
Yeah.
World's Fair. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
old
how
as shit.
old that
Yeah.
technology is.
And it works still.
Yeah,
And
it's
that is
incredible.
very, very impressive to me as a nerd.
So anyway, that was the first half at least of Orlando week. We got 2 more days coming up.
We're going to Universal Studios. We're excited about seeing some Harry Potter stuff because we've got three Ravenclaws and
I'm a Hufflepuff, motherfucker.
yep, and a Slytherin. And so we're gonna go have some butterbeers, and the Harry Potter Express is. The Hogwarts Express is down tomorrow, but hopefully it'll be back up on Friday so we can see it. It's funny, Max, because we have watched so many hours of YouTube videos of ride walkthroughs and park walkarounds and people eating Disney food and Universal food. And I think there was a one point in December I was like, hey, is there a place where we're going to just stop watching these videos so we're not overwhelmed by it? And there was never a point where we stopped. And it didn't spoil it. And actually it was kind of exciting because I was like, oh, hey, there's the place where Tim Tracker was. Like, oh, we saw this on the video. And, oh, that guy was there. So actually it kind of added to the experience for me in a way that I didn't expect. So if you are planning a trip to anywhere, and you're not sure what to expect, and if you maybe have anxiety about travel, it may help you to watch some walkthroughs on YouTube where people have been there before. Or like Erik does. Erik loves looking at Google Maps and figuring out where everything is. Yeah. We had some really good dining experiences so far. Our best dining experience was in Pandora.
Yep.
We ate at this little cafe in Pandora that we'll put a list of where it was that we ate because I can't remember it right now.
I want to say Salik, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. It's whatever they call
but we rose to the challenge.
Sadako.
And we ate these really yummy like bowls of food. They were good. The worst food that we've had this week was, what would you say the worst food that you've had this week is?
I mean, the hot dog I had at Magic Kingdom was just a hot dog. So.
Yeah, that really wouldn't even...
I am a strong proponent of the Mickey pretzels with cheese. The cheese is awful and will make your stomach very upset. But it's still bread and cheese. But it's still bread and cheese, and I'm a big bread and cheese fan. Bread and salty cheese. Yeah. I guess my worst meal has probably been Chicken Guy, which I know is the opposite.
Not geared towards you.
It's
not accommodating for vegetarians.
You didn't eat any chicken.
Chicken Guy is not accommodating for vegetarian
Holy
palates.
Shit, it was right.
The fries tasted like Doritos. It did not like that. The peri peri sauce was good.
You can find somewhere else to sleep.
I'm gonna sleep in the bed with Erik. So.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Wait a second.
Wait, what? So yeah. Okay. Worst ride this week.
Ooh.
Worst ride?
Worst ride.
Fucking Small World, dude.
Yeah.
Small World sucks hard.
Oh, but Small World said goodbye to Precise Brian.
It did.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah,
the ride itself was already creepy.
So you have these things called magic bands, and they have an RFID tag in them, and they can have your first name attached to them. And for some reason, they really wanted to say bye to Erik, but they have our first names, so Precise Brian.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing would actually show up in other places too, because
something said hi to Hannah in Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, the line in Haunted Mansion.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then she continued and made like a joke that was
banana
themed, and I felt very targeted.
Mm-hmm.
It was. It was
and
kind of creepy.
On Expedition Everest, I didn't see it, but one of the like travel posters is supposed to show your name when it walks by, when you walk by it, like.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I didn't see it either. But
Hannah visit Everest or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I have to say, for someone doing Small World for the very first time, it was impressive just the scale of...
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot
the
going on.
The costumes are amazing.
Again, that is a straight from the 1964 World's Fair attraction. So.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite crowd moment?
Oh, we all have the same.
You're boring.
Slow rides are boring. I think you're boring.
We had an ear out for families who might not make it to the park without an argument.
My favorite Schadenfreude thing of going to theme parks is when you're walking to the main gate in the morning at opening time. The family that has a complete meltdown the furthest away from the gate, the closest to the car. It's a thing that I look out for. It's shitty. I know it's a bad part of my personality.
It's still fun,
but it amuses me.
Yeah.
And the closest we actually saw to that this week so far, I think, was this British family where the two boys were fighting, and the one boy says, "Slow rides are boring," and the other boy says,
"No, you're boring." and one was twice the size of the other, yet their voices were indistinguishable.
Yeah, it was great. I love British kids. Like, kids with British accents amuse the shit out of me.
It's kind of become the theme of the week.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's Orlando week so far. We've got 2 more days and then
I'm sure
at
you'll
least
hear about
12-hour drive
a long drive home.
That's cool. I got it.
Oh, yeah?
Ooh.
I mean, I can drive 12 hours. I've done 16.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. big
through
dog.
multiple countries.
I mean, we
Twice.
can choose a route that takes 16.
No,
If you want to
we
test
can-
it.
we can dip
gotta
out
get
west.
home. I got a truck to pick up.
Oh, that's
We got to get home to the doggy.
And I got two dead cars.
Doggy.
Yeah, we've had a lot of car bad luck going on. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks for sticking with us. And yeah.
Talk about us on social media, link episodes.
Make sure you're subscribed. Gosh darn it.
Right, rate, review, do all the things that every other podcast
Click
tells
it
you
down
to do.
in the doobly-doo.
Yeah. Click down the doobly-doo. Yep.
Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Thanks.
you.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody, but me likes you.
Oh. You've just heard the Podpodcvlcast with your hosts Max, Hannah, Chastain, and Erik. Our theme music is Spencer Blues by Lobo Loco. Our break music is Gabbarino from YouTube. Subscribe and review on iTunes or check us out on your favorite player. Visit our website at www.podpodcvlcast.com to find all of our show notes and follow us on social media. Thank you so much for listening.